To be a professional movie poster designer, you need to understand color grading and photo manipulation. And that's what I'm going to be teaching you in this tutorial. Hold on guys, don't clap yet. Don't clap yet. Relax. Now the goal is to make you a professional Photoshop designer. Now clap. Yeah. Alright, it's okay. Alright, it's okay. It's fine. Alright, so this is Tunji from Ceasar Graphics. Welcome to my channel. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this tutorial. Alright, so if you need the exercise file for this tutorial, simply make use of the link in the description section of this video. Okay, so we're going to create a new document now. I'm going to click on File and I'm going to select New. So for this project, I'm going to call it Lost Form. All right, and my width is going to be 720, height is going to be 900 here, and I'm going to make my resolution 100. Color mode is going to be on RGB. Okay, now the reason I'm using 100 as my resolution and my color mode is set to RGB is because I'm posting this on social media. Okay, so I'm going to click on the create button now, and the first thing I'm going to do is to drag the image of my character. So I'm going to drag that and drop here like so. Okay, in the exercise file of this tutorial, you are going to have the non-cropped image. To learn how to crop images here with Photoshop, I have a tutorial on how to achieve that. Okay, so you can use this link up here to watch the tutorial. All right, so I'm going to create my background now from my subject here. So I'm going to call this the farmer. So I'm using my subject here to create my background. So I'm going to use the mark key tool here, and I'm going to draw a shape here and hit Ctrl J to cut that shape from my subject. All right, so I'm going to activate the free transform and I'll drag this way and hold on shift and drag this down and push this up here. Make it get to the side and hit the enter key. And I'm going to drag this below the layer of the farmer. All right, now what I'm going to do next is to go to filter here and activate the filter gallery here. Under the artistic group folder, I'm going to select sponge here and I'm going to select the OK button. So now if you look at, I'm going to zoom in. Now if you look at the edges of my subject here, you see it looks as if this is cut out with a scissors. So we have to soften the edges. So to do that, I'm going to make a copy of this and I'll hide this. Right click on this and say rasterize. All right, now the reason why we're rasterizing it is because it's a smart object, so I decided to take it out from being a smart object so as to be able to apply my blur tool. Okay, so I'm going to select the blur tool now and I'm going to just apply that to the edges of my subject. Now you need to be careful when applying this. Don't over apply it to the point where we're not going to start seeing too much soft edges on the subject. So I'm going to zoom out now and I'm going to go to the adjustment tab here. Now if you can't find your adjustment tab, simply go to Windows and click on it here and then you have it. So then I'm going to activate the brightness adjustment here and I'm going to increase the brightness a bit like so. Now this needs to be behind the layer of my subject here. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is to add depth to my subject. So I'm going to make a copy of this and I'm going to call this depth. I'm going to call this backup. This is going to be my backup. It's always good to have backup when doing this. So I'm going to position this behind the background layer. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to filter and select order here and select high pass. All right, so then I'm going to increase this to, let's say 7.2 is fine, and I'm going to select the OK button. So I'm going to convert this to black and white. So to do that, I'm going to select the image menu and go to adjustment and select desaturate here. All right, then I'm going to go to image again, adjustment, and activate levels. Push this to this side and increase this. All right, I'm going to move this to this side and So what I'm trying to do here is to reduce the gray on the layer. All right. So I want more brightness, I want more white on it. And this is okay. Then I'm going to select the OK button. Then the next thing I'm going to do now is to go straight to the blend mode and change this to soft light. Now see the before and see the after. All right, so I'm going to reduce the opacity of the layer a bit. All right, so before and after. Now this is good. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to go to the adjustment tab and activate black and white. So under the yellow, I'm going to push that up to right about 88, and on the red, I'm going to dial the red down like so. And before after, this is good. Go to the adjustment tab again and activate the curve adjustment, and I'm going to push this up to right about here like so. All right, and I'm going to hit Control I on my keyboard for PC users or Command I for Mac users. So I'm going to reverse the mask and I'm going to zoom in. So what I'm trying to do here now is to create what I call separation between my subject and the background. I'm going to reduce my brush size. So I'm going to make my brush size 6. Zoom in here and I'm going to start from here. So I'm going to gently apply the brush here like so. And we'll reduce it a bit more and just bring back parts of the hair like so. So I'll go back to the adjustment tab again and I'm going to activate my gradient map here, and I'm going to make sure that my cursor here is on the gradient map icon and not the layer mask. Okay, so I'm going to click on the gradient editor here and I'll start from this slider here. I'm going to double click on this to break out to activate my color picker, and I'm going to copy my color here. Now I'm going to put the color codes I use here in the description section, so you can just go there and then copy the code and apply it to your gradient map. Okay, so I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste this here and hit the OK button, and I'm going to make the location of this be on 2, and I'm going to double click on this again to activate another slider. All right, and I'm going to copy the code here, paste it, okay, and hit the OK button and change the location of this to 70. All right, and I'm going to double click here again and then do the same move, and the location of this is going to be 79. The very last slider will now be this, and I'm going to select the OK button. Okay, and for this I'm going to just gently move this to the side because I want to still have some highlight on the face of my subject here. So I'm going to move this to this side. All right, this is going to be somewhere around here, like so. Do the same thing to this. Now you see, as I move this, I'm beginning to see the highlight on the face of my character here. So I'm going to move this here like so. Put this here, and I think this is good for me, and I'm going to select the OK button. So the next thing I'm going to do here is to go back to the adjustment tab and activate hue saturation, because my blue here is it's too much. Okay, so I'm going to just dial this down a bit like so, and I think this is okay for now. Okay, and I'm going to go to my adjustment tab again and activate the curve adjustment, and this time I'm just going to darken this a bit like so, right? And I'll go straight to my RGB here and activate blue. Now what I want to do here is to have little touch of green on the shadow part of the project. So I'm going to just click right here and dial this down. Now you see we're beginning to see that green color on us on our project. So if I over apply, this is what we're going to get. So be careful when you're doing this. Don't over apply it, because applying it too much is going to affect what we're doing here. So just going to stop it right about here. All right, and for my height highlight here, I'm just going to add more blue to it. All right, I'm going to push this up a bit right about here. Now this is good. So what I'm going to do again now is to add light effect to the eyes of my subject here. So to do that, I'm going to create a new layer by holding down Alt and click on the new layer icon here, and I'm going to call this high. I'm going to call it lights. All right, then under my mode here, I'm going to change this to color dodge, and I'm going to check the fill with color dodge neutral color black here, and I'm going to select the OK button. Please, before applying the brush, make sure you're on the soft round brush, and make sure that shape dynamic is turned off, and make sure transfer is checked. Okay, so then if you don't have a graphic tablet, because under the control of my transfer here, I have pen pressure. So, but if you don't have a graphics tablet, you can turn down your flow to 15 or 8. All right, let's just say 8, and you're still going to achieve the same move. Okay, so then I'm going to reduce my brush size. All right, and just gently apply that here, like so. And I'll move to this side and do the same move again, like so. All right, so under my curve here, I'm going to click on the layer mask of my curve here and just apply the light effect on the eye of my subject. So I'm going to do the same thing again gently. All right, that's too much, so I'm going to gently apply that here. I'm going to do the same thing here, like so. All right, now this is what we have. All right, now I'm going to apply that. I'm going to apply it to this side also. Apply here, apply it here, 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 like so. And this is good. Create a new layer. All right, and I'm going to call this eye glow. All right, and I'm going to select the OK button. Then I'm going to change my blend mode to screen, and this time I'll zoom in and just gently apply the brush again to the eye. All right, apply it here and apply it here, like so. All right, now this is beginning to make sense. So the next thing I'm doing now is to apply the flame image to the project. So I'm going to drag that right from my exercise file and drop that here, and I'm going to make this bigger and position this somewhere around here, and I'm going to change the blend mode to screen. Position that here, and so the fire image has been desaturated. All right, so we need to give it that fire color again. So I'm going to go to the adjustment tab here and activate curve adjustment. And what I'm going to do is to go to the RGB option here and click on blue. All right, and I'm going to say I want this to apply to just only the flame layer. All right, so I'm going to dial my blue down, but before I do that, I need you guys to know that the opposite of blue here is yellow, the opposite of green here is magenta, and the opposite of red here is cyan, which is blue. So since the opposite of blue here is yellow, so I'm going to click on this and I'm going to dial this down to add yellow to the layer, like so. Right, so then I'm going to go to green here. All right, and since the opposite of green is magenta, I'm going to add green. I'm going to add red to this, so I'm going to dial this down to right about here, and then you see we have our fire, the color of our fire, all right, the way we want it. So I'm going to zoom out, and then we have this. So what I'm going to do next is to add few blur to this, because this is looking too strong for me. So then I'm going to go to filter, blur gallery, and select field blur here. All right, and I'm going to make my blur 2. Okay, and I'm going to select the OK button to make a copy of this. All right, there. All right, so then I'm going to double click on the blur gallery of my duplicate flame layer, and I'm going to dial this up like so. This should be here, like so. And I think this is okay for me. And I'm going to select the OK button, activate the free transform, right click and select flip. And this should be here. And I'm going to select the OK button. All right, I'll push this it. Put this in a group. So I'm going to hit Control G, call this flame. I think let's just add more glue to the flame here. So I'm going to create a new layer, call this fire glow. I'm going to select the brush tool. I'm going to increase the brush size. All right, now please remember to turn your flow back to 100 before applying the brush tool to your fire glow layer. And I'm going to click once like so and change my blend mode, excuse me, to screen here, and I'll activate the free transform and make this bigger and position this here like so. All right, position this here. And what I'm going to do now is, if you look at my color, the color of my glue here, it looks orange. So I wanted to have a bit of red. So I'm going to activate levels by hitting Control L for PC users and Command L for Mac users. All right, so I'm going to hit Control L to activate the levels, and this should go this way like so. And I'm going to select the OK button, and this should come right about here. So, all right. So this is okay for me, and I'm gonna make a copy of this. Change the name to blue to two, excuse me. So change to be two, and I'm gonna position this here and create what I call noise. So I'm gonna hold on Control. I'm gonna hold down Alt and click on the new layer icon and call this noise. I'm gonna change my mode here to soft lights, and I'm going to check the fill with soft light neutral color 50% gray option here, and I'm going to select the OK button like so. Go to filter, then select noise and say add noise. All right, then I'm going to make my amount 17 like so and hit the OK button. Now I'm going to zoom in. Okay, the color of my eyes here is not looking the way I want it, so I'm going to go back to the highlighter layer, because really you need to do this. All right, so there are times where you have to go back to your previous layers and just tweak things to before they look the way you want them. So I'm going to select my brush tool now, go back to my brush setting and make sure transfer is checked, and I'm going to zoom in like so. You'll just gently apply this like so. All right, and I'm going to gently apply that here also. Right now, this is okay. Now, what I'm going to do next is go to filter, blur, and select Gaussian. Okay, this is good. So I'm going to select the OK button and put everything here in a group. All right, because putting them in a group is going to help the your layer panel to look neat. All right, so I'm going to call this subjects. All right, and I'll click on the noise layer and go to the adjustment tab here and activate exposure. All right, so under my exposure here, I'm just going to dial this up. I know some of you have never touched this adjustment before, so I'm going to just dial this up right about here. E command I for Mac users, Control I for PC users. So I'm going to hit Control I and I have this. And what I'm going to do next is to select my brush tool, increase the size of my brush, and I'm going to just zoom in like so. All right, and I'm going to make sure that under my brush settings, I'm on the soft round brush, and I'm going to just apply the exposure to the scene like so. Now, the reason why I'm making all this move is because I'm going to be applying some light effect to this side of my project, so I need to make that side more brighter. So just do that here. All right. So then I'm going to blend with this because I don't want this to touch too much of the shadow part of my subject. So I'm going to double click on the layer to activate the layer style. And since I don't want this to touch the shadow part, I'm going to move from this side to this side. All right. And I'm going to hold on Alt and click to break the slider, and this should go this way and this should go back a bit like so. All right. So I'm going to select the OK button, activate curve, push my curve up a bit like so. All right. And I'm going to make the same move again by double clicking on the layer to activate the layer style. And I'm going to make the same move and just push this to this side. Hold down Alt and move this here, move this here, this here. I'm going to select the OK button. Now, I don't want this to affect the entire project. So what I'm going to do now is to hold on Alt and duplicate the layer mask of the exposure and apply it to the curve layer mask. So I'm going to hold on Alt and do that now by clicking and dragging, and I'm going to drop it right on the layer mask of the curve. And I have this. Create a new layer again and call this face lights. Select Enter key, and I'm going to increase my brush size like so, and I'm going to just apply that here. Okay, I'm going to apply it here, like here, here, here. This is good. Okay, then I'm going to change my blend mode here to linear light. I'm going to double click to activate the layer style again from this side to this side. And I'm going to hold on Alt and break the slider, and this should go this way and this should go this way like so. So I'm going to move this here like so. All right. And this should go this way here like so. And I'm going to select the OK button. Now this time I'm going to select the brush tool. All right, and I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to gently apply that here. All right, now make sure when you're applying your brush to this side of the face, make sure your flow is set to 8. All right, because right now my brush settings is set to transfer here. All right, and my control is set to pen pressure. So I'm going to just gently apply my brush here like so. All right, I'm going to scale down my brush size. So I'll gently apply that here, here. Razor tool. I think I will apply it, so I'm just going to gently take it out from here like so. Select the brush tool again and just, this is good. So what I'm going to do again now is to add more light effect to this by holding on Alt, and I'm going to click on the new layer icon, and I'm going to call this lights. All right, here should be light here. And I'm going to change my mode here to color dodge, and I'm going to check the fill with color dodge neutral color black option here and select the OK button. All right, and turn off shape dynamic and make sure that you are on the software brush. So I'm going to just gently apply that here like so, apply it here, apply it here. So now make sure that your flow is set to 8 before applying your brush. Okay, so and also don't forget to make sure that your foreground here is set to orange. All right, make sure your foreground color is set to the same orange we'll be using. So I'm going to zoom out and just apply that somewhere around here like so. Just do the same thing. Right, this is making sense anyway. So what I'm going to do now is to go back to my brush setting here and make sure I'm on the hard brush, excuse me, and turn off shape dynamic and activate pen pressure. And I'm going to scale down my brush because right now I want to apply the brush. I want to apply my brush to the hair. All right, so I'm going to just apply that here. Okay, so I think this still need to go out a bit. So this also need to go out a bit. So I'm gonna hold on Control Shift Alt and E. All right, to stamp visible of the layers, and I'm gonna right click and say Convert to Smart Objects, and I'll go to Filter, and I'm gonna select Camera Raw Filter here. Okay, so under my basic here, I'm going to push the exposure down a bit and increase the contrast, not too much. All right, now for my highlight, I'm going to dial that up like so, because I really want to have this highlight on the face of my subject, and also the light effect I did here to to be more stronger. So I'm going to increase my highlight like so, and I'm going to dial the shadow down a bit because I really want to have more depth on the on the darker part of the project. Okay, so for my texture, I'm going to increase that a bit just so as to add contrast to the pixels here. And on the vibrance, I'm going to increase the vibrance a bit because I don't want to boost the colors of the project bits like so. And I'll close this and go under details. So I'm going to increase the sharpening like so. All right. Adding shadow is going to kill the softness around the pixels. All right. So I'm going to close this and I'll go straight to the color mixer. For this, I'm going to start with the hue because if you look right here, the color on the face of my character here is not connecting with the color from the flame. All right. So we need to balance that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the greens here and I'm going to move this to right about here like so, right? And under the yellow here, I'm going to move this to this side. Now you see we're beginning to have that connection between the flame and the light on the face of our subject. So I'm going to move this to right about here, and I think this is okay for now. And so I'll go straight back to saturation here and increase the color on the yellow so as to, make the color from the flame more stronger like so. And under the yellow here, I'm going to increase that. Okay, now I wanted to say oranges here. All right, should be yellow, should be oranges. So under my yellows here, I'm going to just move that to right about here, like so, and close uh, this. So under the effect here, I'm going to add more grain to this by dialing this up. Now the grain simply means noise. So I'm going to move that here, and I'm going to add veneer to this right now by pushing this down like so. Click on the OK button. Now you see the before and after here. So I'm going to click here to create a new layer and click on the text tool and click here and call this lost. Go to the property tab here and I'm going to close the bracket. I'll go straight here where I have my fonts and I'm going to choose analog. All right, that's the name of the font that I use here. So I'm going to add lead into this. All right, and I'm going to justify this here like so. All right, and activate the free transform and just make this bigger like so. Position this somewhere around here. Now my color should be light orange like so. All right, and this should be somewhere around here like so. So I'm going to click here and add the date, which is 4th of February. Change this to bottom and I'll change this to bold. This should have a grayish color, not white. And I'm going to activate the free transform and just position this here like so. Make a copy of this, double click on it and call this. All right. Now the reason I'm using Netflix is because I want you guys to know this movie is not real. So I don't use the real name. Okay, so I'm going to just click here, position this here, and I'm going to change this to Bebers. Right? Should be Bebers. Hold on shift to click on this like so. To go down, activate the free transform and make this bigger. Position this here. So I think the space between my row here is too much. So I'm going to close it. I'm done. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. What do you guys think? So if you have not subscribed, remember to hit the subscribe button and remember to click the post notification bell so you don't miss any of my upcoming tutorials. Like, share and comment on this video, and if you are able to achieve this tutorial or any project with the help of this tutorial, simply post it on your Instagram page and remember to tag me. Also remember to use the hashtag Ceasar Graphix. Alright, so I'll see you again in the next one. Peace.